Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the StarLadder StarSeries Season 14 here for Europe. We've got two best of threes lined up for you this evening, and we're going to be starting off the first one right here, right now, with Titan versus E-Frag going live. Scream is on the server. I know you guys were a little bit worried about it since he didn't technically join before he went to the commercials before the game started, but he is here, as you can see, so no need to worry about that. But it is going to be starting off here on Dust 2, so the nice side as we see the Viktor coming out there. Not going to matter wholly all that much. Obviously, again, Dust 2 being that very even map between both sides. CT can sometimes be a little bit harder depending on the team that is playing it, but we'll just have to see how well E-Frag are able to mount themselves upon it, as they're going to be starting off here on the CT side, assumingly because they went out the knife round, and Titan jumping onto the T side here to start things off. We'll see how it goes as we're getting started right here, right now. This is, of course, going to be only one of three maps, though. After this one, we're jumping over to Cash, and this is the pick from Titan, by the way, here on Dust 2. Second map, E-Frag's pick is going to be over on Cash, and for our third and final map, if we do need to play it, is going to be over on Train. But in this round here on the pistol round, Existence, who buys the Deagle, picks the first kill on a spyleadeR. Unfortunately for spyleadeR, he takes a duel through the mid doors and is promptly headshotted with the Deagle. So he'll be shut up fairly quickly here at the beginning of the round. And that'll be a great start for the members of Titan here. Taking it very slowly after that, though, because of the aggression they did meet sort of by the mid doors. They're kind of expecting maybe a little bit more to be pushed out against them. So they're not necessarily going to press through any angles just as of yet. But this first kill is going to do wonders for them because it's already mucking up the defense to some degree here. And it's going to split the members of E-Frag. So the support that could come in maybe through CT and through the B site is going to be somewhat limited here. We can already see Bubble. He spots this cat push. He's going to fall back a little bit. And that's actually a great nade that ends up going down. It's not going to stop the killing spree that the members of Titan are on right now. However, and just like that, it's already brought down to NKL in a 1 versus 5. Very clean here on the pistol round from Titan. And in fact, we do see the Mac 10 coming into play here too. I forgot to note that because it did get picked up there, but Existence, I think, is able to go for the buy on that one because of the fact that he picks up that kill so early in the round. He can go back and buy it, if I actually remember how that goes correctly. So that's interesting because now not only is he going to have that for this round, but he got that in the previous round too. So he still has a lot of money built up from that. So that's a pretty interesting thing there that ends up going on because of the fact that they pick up that kill so early that they can actually go for that Mac 10 buy. That's just a bit unfortunate that obviously spyleadeR ends up going down because he takes that duel so early against the Deagle. So it's weird. I know a lot of people are probably like not gonna say the word for it. I know a lot of people are screwed up in the head because of that one, but it is possible if you get the kill that early, which he did basically get it in the first couple of seconds, and he was in the buy zone when he got it, so I guess it just works out for Titan that way. So now it's down to a 5 versus 3 already on this round. E-Frag, obviously, as you can see, not really going for a very big investment into this round, but Dreamer doing some work from inside of CT, able to pick up 2 kills back-to-back. Now shox coming back in there. He's going to clean up 2 more, and then Existence picks up the final kill as well with a nice little Deagle headshot there. Titan now set at 2-0, and E-Frag going to have to go for their trash build here. So on the splits here from Titan now, I'll take a look and see where they're going to move their players towards. Obviously, E-Frag still actually, they run a little bit of different setup this time, putting 2 players out towards long to try and aggress against this. So they can get the closer angle with the pistol, maybe pick up some kills, and it works out at the beginning, but things are still being evenly traded, and this is not what E-Frag want to have to work against now. Just down to spyleadeR in a 1 versus 3. Unfortunately, he's stuck back over here in CT. Picking up 1, looking for the second on RpK, and he almost grabs it. But not going to be enough. RpK grabs a 3K for that round. And now heading into the first gun round here for both teams. Obviously, we can already see here with that Mac 10 coming into play as early as it did on this gun round. Shoxy is going to have 9.9K for it. So that's a lot of money that these Ts already have built up amongst themselves. And if E-Frag doesn't manage to pick something up here, then obviously, again, that instability that often comes into play here on pretty much every map, which is going to be the CT-sided economy, will be another factor in this matchup. But thankfully, Bubble finding the first pickup, and Viktor getting aggressive too is actually going to be able to find 2 frags for himself, taking down both RpK and Scream. And there's Bubble with a second op kill coming back out into SmithZz. This aggression from Titan has been absolutely shut down. And this round's basically over already. It's 1 versus 4. If shox is able to somehow work this 1 versus 4, it will be absolutely incredible, but I just don't see it happening. as now he's going to move into the site, and he has basically 0 angles to work with here. Pressing in, he's going to have to worry about CT. He's going to have Viktor going up against him too, back over here. Might be able to sneak the plant at the very least. Oh, but he grabs that headshot over here onto Viktor, takes him down. Now getting pressured by nades, and there's cat pressure, as you can see, coming out from NKL now too. So he's got to be very careful of this, trying to find him, but he's a little bit too slow on adjusting his aim once he spots him behind the bricks over there. So he is going to get taken down, and then we will see the first round coming onto the board now for the members of E-Frag. 3-1, still in the favor of Titan, and obviously with the money that they did gain from those anti-eco rounds, they're still going to be able to go for another buy here. But this may be one of the last few, as they're still going to have to try and stack up that losing bonus. They haven't necessarily got to there as of yet. We could see a force in the next round, so there'll probably be a sequence of they buy here, if they drop here, then they go for a Tech 9 armor buy up in the next round, and then they could just go for another one. But trades are going to be had at the beginning. It does end up going by the way of Titan. Things bounce back, however, just a couple seconds after that one. And now they're trying to find Bubble, but some team damage comes out on the Scream there. There's a bit of miscommunication with him crossing, but also Bubble's not going to pick up that op shot there as Scream goes across, and thusly Scream, as he goes for the repeat back up on top, should be able to take down Bubble, leaving things out, again, in the advantage of Titan, but NKL going to roll in. He's able to find the even trade situation, finishes off SmithZz. Now the T's are trying to hold on there. One player positioning himself a little bit further down long, but there's Scream again, fighting into their frag here, takes out NKL. And now just Dreamer trying to find his way into the site here. He knows the Scream sitting behind the box. Got to be really careful of RpK because he knows he's somewhere out towards long, but that's not even going to matter. Scream shuts him out, takes him down. That's going to be a 4K for Scream in that round, holding that platform like an absolute champion. And now once again restoring the lead here for the members of Titan and re-breaking the CT-sided economy here. They'll go for pistol armor investments, forcing things up here. A couple of FAMASas coming into the play, but beyond that, nothing really else being brought in for these guys. And it'll be a quick one coming out of the B tunnels this time too. Now from the side of Titan, running out RpK, picking up some kills. Scream putting in some good damage with the Mac 10, but does ultimately fall to spyleadeR. Not a lot of trouble though that comes out from that one because of the fact that he's only wielding that Mac 10 right now, so that's not a huge gun that's lost to the wind. Now the two that are left alive here are going to be Bubble and Viktor. And interestingly enough, these are the two with the rifles. So if they can keep these two alive, again, nothing is really going to be lost in a huge manner this round. The rest of the guys were mostly on this upgraded pistols with armor sitting behind it. So we still do have the entire team emptied out regardless, and we'll have to go for a save next round anyway. But not losing these rifles, again, is going to keep the big impact weapons still in play here. As Viktor hiding behind Big Blue, waiting for the peek to come out from shox, but falling short when the time comes. Thankfully, Bubble able to find the correction kill there, and this should be all he really needs to grab. It doesn't look like anybody from Titan is going to be able to get into a position in time to really get a chance to find a kill onto Bubble, so he'll be safe heading into the next round. And not just this, but he actually upgrades the gun over towards an AK. Again, though, the unfortunate thing is that this will be the only gun that they will have here from the side of E-Frag heading into this round. Just tell that by the money. But looks like the members of E-Frag are having a little bit of a TeamSpeak problem, if you can't already see that in the chat. So as soon as they've managed to fix that, we'll go live once again here with the match. Should hopefully just be a short little break, and then we'll get unpaused. And yep, already seeing the unpause signal coming out there from spyleadeR, so just waiting for Titan to respond. And then we will go away. Here we go. So the big thing so far that we've been seeing here from E-Frag, and this is just a general thing that happens on the CT side with the usual way that teams often like to play this map, is Titan right now are doing an absolutely fantastic job of finding those first opening kills for the most part. And what that often will do, especially if they can pick up more than one, is it's going to just completely destroy the defenses here on the CT side. Dust 2, especially on the A side, is a very easy map to cut off the reinforcements if you take the site quickly enough. So they've got to be careful of this and not necessarily give away their players so early in the round. This is another case where it happens, but keep in mind again, this is for the most part going to be a full save round, so it's not too crazy to see these players just going all in and trying to find any lucky kills that they can grab to get some economical impact in there. Won't really be finding too much of it this time. The final two are back over here, just outside of middle. And there you have shox tapping away there to find one of the last final two kills. The team flash comes out, almost actually dooms RpK, but thankfully we are still able to see Titan come out on top of that one without losing anybody else towards the end of the round. So now Titan with a very, very secure lead at this point, starting to build up that money situation once again here too, with pretty much every single player, with the only exception being maybe Scream, being placed into a situation where they can go for their own rebuys if we should see E-Frag pick up a round. And speaking of E-Frag picking up rounds, well, they're back on their big guns here. M4's no op coming into play from Bubble this time, just as of yet. So we're not going to see that big impact, which so far has been a pretty crucial component for the one round we saw E-Frag take. Bubble was, again, a really big part of that one, so with him missing that big op, but if he's not able to perform as well with a rifle, that could definitely impact this team pretty negatively. And as Titan, again, they do realize, of course, that they're going to be on that full buy situation, so they take things a little bit more slowly. Viktor, though, on the aggression here for the CTs, actually pushing out through the long doors, potentially looking for a route to flank these players. And keep in mind, the shox did fall back. There's currently nobody covering this. They've got players watching from behind it, and that's going to be SmithZz over there, but SmithZz comes out blank, and look at that, Viktor picks up 2 kills. It finally takes Scream to react to that to shut it down, but now they've got the bomb stuck over here, and their other teammate shox is a little bit separated from the rest of them, doesn't really have an easy path to get back control with the rest of them here as well. And again, I'm pretty sure they're going to realize that this is going to be a fake over here. Might even try to cross it to regroup with those teammates, but that's not going to work out so well because they have NKL sitting back over here on top of T-Spawn, so he's going to be able to take down Existence, and this is not looking good here. That cutoff that came in from the members of E-Frag is just working out perfectly because they chose not to end up having coverage back over there on the long doors, and it's biting them in the butt real big time right now. shox and Scream are now the final 2, trying to just force their way back in over here onto the A site, but Dreamer's going to be waiting back over here in Goose. That's going to be a tough spot here. They work their way in. Dreamer finding the first kill. Now the rest can crush in. shox does manage to pick up the frag on a Dreamer, but now he's at 6 HP. spyleadeR jumps up. He finds a headshot. He sees Bubble, but thankfully NKL comes in on the backside there and takes him out before he can do any more damage. And E-Frag again picking up that second round for themselves. So for Titan, once again now, these players, they're going to work their way, splitting themselves up a lot more this time, actually, to try and watch out exactly for that aggression. And like we was talking about in the middle of that round, it's a little bit unfortunate what happens to Titan, because if shox had decided to stay back over there outside the long doors and watch for that kind of push, probably would have caught that. We would have still seen a lot of success coming out from Titan, because that could have been placed into a 5 versus 3 situation instead of essentially the opposite that we saw 3 versus 5 against the members of Titan. But he chooses to move away from that to get aggressive inside of the B tunnels, and because of that, again, there's just an open path that's left. So that's a bit of a mistake from Titan, and this is where, again, the CTs can find quite a bit of success on this map if it's not being watched out for by the Ts. So that's just a bit of a slip-up. I don't imagine that happening again. And they actually had people watching that too, which was a bit unfortunate. Just those guys fell a little bit short, but perfect pop flash comes out there, able to drop the kill on down to NKL. spyleadeR thankfully finds a response to it here, and Bubble, waiting up over here onto the site, sees this cat push coming back out. He's going to be able to pick up the headshot over onto Existence. More pushing in, and that's going to be Scream taking down Bubble. He gets overwhelmed. spyleadeR waiting for shox to cross in the middle. Very calm aim control there. Able to take out shox, and now leaving things still very much so in the favor of the CTs as they go for their retake. But at the same time, Titan trying to keep a good hold onto their own angles here, too. They push back in. SmithZz is being pressured so heavily right now. It's Scream trying to pick up those shots, but it's just not possible. The retake comes so naturally to E-Frag, and again, very nicely played by both Dreamer and spyleadeR, picking up those 2 kills. Not really losing all that much health either, and spyleadeR specifically getting a 3K this round. E-Frag now finding a 3rd round, and starting to come back a little bit here against the members of Titan. We should probably be able to see at least one more buy coming out here from Titan. Be a little bit forced on some players, but for the most, they're still going to have no trouble at all picking up all the essentials here. And a player that might be missing a couple things is going to be Scream, but again, this is because Scream has been a fairly forward-thinking player in the way that he's been positioning himself. He's normally one of the first ones to go down in a lot of these rounds, or at the very least, he places himself in very risky positions, so it's not uncommon to see him go down. And that's why his money's been a little bit lower than the rest of the team. Now Existence going to try to work his way back out, but again, that crossfire angle is a little bit too detrimental to these players. Thankfully, they do end up forging their way through it, but now the members of E-Frag have the intel as to where they could be pushing in from, and they're still in an even traded situation. Had this still been an advantage for Titan, they still would have been wise to press forward against it, but it's not the case anymore. They have to fall back. And again, they're looking for a correct angle to push into. Thankfully, not a lot of aggression coming in from E-Frag, with the exception of this upper tunnels push right now from Dreamer. He's going to be moving in. shox does not move away from this quickly enough. He could be caught out, but I think he's in a safe spot now. Nope, he's up on top of Xbox, so he's going to be spotted. And there we go, back shot coming out. Dreamer tapping away at him, takes him out. And that's going to be shox that now falls away. 2 still left alive here as Titan. They're going to try to work the long push out along with this cat push. There's actually 0 coverage right now on the A site. Bubble's going to have the only thing here is they'll try to take out Scream as he crosses. And ooh, just connecting that shot. Shuts down Scream. And now it's all on SmithZz. No responses found either. So a 1 versus 3. And extremely hard for him to clutch it out too. Looking for the shot in a Bubble, but Bubble, again, the coverage on him is too good right now. So SmithZz falling back away, gonna try to catch Dreamer, but Dreamer again coming out on top of that one. Wins the duel versus SmithZz, and these post plants from Titan are becoming their enemy at this point. Unfortunately, just very unsatisfying holds that come out here from Titan, trying to take a lot of these duels out in the open, and unfortunately, even though it seems like they're in great positions to win them, just in terms of the caliber of players that are going up against each other, we're just not seeing Titan win them out, and this is costing them round after round. This is the second or third time, almost in a row now, where we've seen Titan fall to this sort of circumstance. And again, these uneven trades that they get themselves into are not helping them either. But there comes the op now from SmithZz. He's going to peek right out there, finds that first goal in a bubble. Bubble has no clue what to expect from this one. However, again, the trade comes out strong, and that'll be NKL finding a frag onto existence. Not only this, but spyleadeR picking up another one. Thankfully, RPK finding that trade, but that nade's going to roll in, and that's going to be able to take down RPK. So again, very well handled here by E-Frag, gauging that aggression very, very carefully, but it works out. They're going to, again, they give away a couple of their players in order to get the intel, but thankfully this leads into other kills, and because they are able to pick up 1 or 2 more free kills, they can still keep themselves in an advantage scenario. Not only this, but Titan's final 2 players only have ops to work with, and I just want to double check, but it doesn't look like either of these guys really have any AKs nearby that they could trade it out for either. A lot of the action that went down left a lot of dead Titan players sitting over by the tunnels, so there's not really going to be a situation where SmithZz can drop this out for like an AK or whatnot. Both are going to have to work with the ops until at the very least they can find a closer range kill to scavenge an M4 or another AK off the members of E-Frag, and this is not going to make for a very clutch situation unless they're very, very good at picking up these kills. This will be tough for Titan, but they're not going to give up on it just as of yet. shox is trying to sneak his way in right now. The biggest threat to them is going to be back over there. It'll be NKL sitting up on top of Cat. Already taken down one. We did see Dreamer getting legged, and NKL getting hit a little bit there too, it would seem, unless I'm sound bugged again, which is not unlikely. But shox actually makes a very smart decision in my eyes, just moves in there, gets the plant, now placing himself in the 1 versus 3, but only ends up legging one of the players, and Viktor rolling in there with a jumping shot. Gonna be able to finish him off with some assistance coming in there from Dreamer. There we have it now. E-Frag again, make that retake happen, and still no one else after the initial battle ends up going down. So with all things considered there, keeping it still very, very clean here from E-Frag, and this should allow those that keep themselves alive almost consistently in every single round to keep their money stacking up strong, and this is going to help the CTs. Now finally Titan finally starting to run a little bit low on the cash here. They are going to go for 4 Deagles and a Tech 9 this time around. Scream the only one that picks up the Tech 9. Everybody else has gone for Deagle, and basically everybody with the exception of SmithZz has also gone for a pickup onto Armor as well. So this is why we'll see, again, very held back play from Titan for early sort of advancements if they could gain them. But for shox at least, things are not going to start off too strong, as he has himself with a good angle, but Viktor not going to take the chance of going inside of the long doors with it having its vision unimpaired. So it's going to get smoked off there, and we will see Viktor end up retreating to the pit. We can see shox again. Looks like he wants to peek out against it over the smoke and plume, and he goes for it. Didn't spot Viktor, but Viktor spotted him, so there's the first kill that comes out, and not even spotting NKL either. Very sloppy right now from Titan as they try to forge their way in, but not working out too well. NKL trying to pick up existence here too, but there's finally at least one that comes out. This is going to draw the attention of NKL away. Now these guys start to peek out, but good timing there. spyleadeR comes in to support just as his teammate moves away. This is great communication coming out right now, and it's just leaving existence alive. He does get a nice amount of damage over here onto spyleadeR, and rolling out and tapping a little bit there with the Deagle, but only brings him down to 15. Same story for NKL, as he's brought down to 8, but that's still really good teamwork that comes out there from E-Frag. They knew that the hold on B was going to be a little bit weak, so they move in extra pressure from middle, because they know it's probably not going to be coming in through A with the amount of players left alive. Still have coverage on middle, still have coverage of any players that try to get aggressive coming outside of the B doors, and from that point forward, they just shut it down. So now we see the guns again getting back into the hands of the Ts. We'll see what they can work with, but prospects so far have not been looking so good ever since we've finally seen E-Frag get the guns into their hands consistently and able to pick up a few of those rounds. Titan have not actually had a response in about 5 rounds now. 4 rounds. Actually, sorry, I can't count. It's 5 rounds. They haven't had a response in 5 rounds now, and that's unfortunately hurting the members of Titan here pretty heavily. They're back on a bouncing back and forth buy here, trying to pick up the guns left and right, and we've been seeing a pretty consistent amount of plants. This is helping them to keep the buys a little bit stronger, but if things start to fall off once again, and we just see these shutdowns that we were having, a couple of these rounds coming out from E-Frag, then that's going to prevent that from happening by quite a bit, and E-Frag are not only going to be able to take the lead, but pretty dominantly too. And again, they're almost at this point now where they continue to grow their money. Keep in mind, we only have a few rounds left here in this first half. We're almost at that point now where E-Frag are basically going to be safe for the rest of the half. If they can get 1 or 2 more clean rounds under their belt, then they're going to be pretty much good to go. So we can see again, Titan moving themselves all around. They actually worked their way into the B site pretty much for free as Dreamer's pushed out of it. But Dreamer's pushed up. He's actually in a really good position to try to find some of these players. And there we go. Shox thinking that that's going to be a safe angle to push towards. Horribly mistaken, as Dreamer's going to be able to shut him back down. And now the plant comes in. This is a bit risky again on the side of E-Frag, because they do allow the members of Titan to get this plant essentially for free as they push themselves out of the site. But now they're going to move in, look for the retake. Coming into the tunnels here too is going to be spyleadeR trying to take down Existence. He's going to get double pressed, but he moves up. Existence able to hold himself for now, but there's going to be more pressure coming into those tunnels in just a second. And spyleadeR's going to find the kill there. Dreamer pressing in. SmithZz going a little bit, unfortunately, because completely misses his opportunity there. And sits like a sitting duck for a second there. He's going to get shut down there by Bubble. That takes him out. And again, E-Frag actually find the retake they were looking for to pick up yet another round here. And now they're going to take the lead away from the members of Titan as well. And again, a trap was set that time for the members of E-Frag. They almost let them take control of the site. Pushed out a little bit there by the aggression that was thrown in at the beginning of the round. But ultimately, I'll just have the assets that are needed for the retake. No mid-pinch comes back out, and with the additional pressure that comes in from the tunnels there, the members of E-Frag are able to do that quite nicely, especially with that sort of secondary flank that comes back in over there through the T courtyard. That was really well played. But Bubble finding a crazy shot on the shox. I don't even know how that connected after we did see Scream picking up one kill. spyleadeR is holding his own back over here towards Long as well. Shuts out Existence, and again, this offensive has been shut down pretty nicely. We are going to see here the members of Titan moving in. They'll be allowed to plant this bomb once again, so the buys can remain strong, at least in the final round. But still a 4 versus 2 on the retake here. It's going to have to come out in a huge way from these members of Titan. SmithZz, he picks up a first kill over here on his spyleadeR. We do see RpK trying to hold off his own angle, but he only finds one of these frags, and now Bubble looking for the jump shot back over here to take him down. Slowly flanking it around. He's being surrounded, and Bubble is just going to finish it off, shuts him out. And there we have it again, another one being picked up by E-Frag. Now up to 8 points for them, looking likely to find a 9th here on the final round with the way the Titan is performing here on Dust 2 right now. And as we were mentioning before, once again, thankfully Titan, that was the one thing they had going for them here, was the fact that they could keep up the buys so consistently here, despite the fact that they were always losing. Full losing bonus plus plant money in almost every single round leads to a fairly strong buy. The only exception is going to be missing mollies and whatnot, but it seems to be, again, their Titan here just to try to go for a lot of direct takes, relying on entry frags anyway, so it's not too out of the way to see them unfortunately not using mollies and whatnot. But this time around, we do see SmithZz getting overwhelmed. There are 2 nades connecting onto him, brings him down to like 8 HP, and then Bubble finishes him off with an op shot. So not the best start once again from Titan. No utility supporting this push either. There's walking into the site. So it's easy pickings for the most part here from Bubble. There's shox, finally using a flashbang to get himself through the long doors, picks up an opening frag over here on Viktor. RpK, along with Scream, double teaming back over there by the mid doors, and shox pushing in. Bubble has no clue where he's moving in from, so finally it looks like another round coming out here from Titan. As we do see Dreamer trying to turn this back around, puts it into a 1 versus 2, trying to take out shox. But thankfully shox is going to be quick on the headshot there. Shuts him down before he can do any further damage, and Titan pick up at least 7 points here at the end of it. It'll be very, very close heading into the second half, 8-7. But Titan again there could have had a much, much better half for themselves. Just weren't seeing a whole lot of utility use for these countertakes and whatnot. A lot of these frags coming out for the members of E-Frag very cleanly, without really needing to do all that much there. This combined with really good positioning from these guys and really great calls too. A lot of E-Frag to dominate so many rounds. We saw great examples of movement and overall map control coming out from E-Frag. They knew just when to aggress, just when to hold back. Perfect play like that. Going to be very hard to work against here. And if they can replicate things like that on the T side, if the game sense is going to be just as strong, then it's going to be a rough second half for Titan in my eyes. But again, we did see them starting off strong, so if they can sort of recenter themselves and look to try and come back once again now with that strong advantage, then we can probably see once again these guys getting themselves into the game very, very nicely. So E-Frag start things off pretty typically here on the first pistol round of our second half. But SmithZz getting aggressive on the cat, gonna pick up the first shot, getting some good damage here, finding a second one. Almost takes down Bubble as well, but unfortunately he's gonna run out of ammo there and has to fall away from that one. Bubble's gonna survive the encounter with 75 HP. RpK pushing out towards Long. He finds another shot onto NKL, and obviously shox knows the Bubble's creeping in, so that's gonna be a pretty simple one for shox to pick up, and then Scream with the headshot tap. Finishing off Dreamer there too, takes him down. And that will be Titan coming right back into this game now here on the pistol round of our second half. Tying it up at 8 points, 8 rounds I should say. And now immediately going for a lot of their rifle upgrades. 3 out of 5, pretty usual here. And then we see both shox along with SmithZz going for the upgrades onto the SMGs. SmithZz going to pick up the MP7, and shox will go for the UMP upgrade. E-Frag, though, not going to take this round lightly as they go for the Tech 9 armor investment. This could get a little bit rough here from shox. This is going to be pressured from numerous angles, but I think he realizes just what's coming up against him, and he has to fall away from this one. That smoke, too, bounces off of shox on the way up, but shox with a quick repositioning back over here towards the middle. That would have been a little bit dangerous as he was left out of it, but he gets smoked off anyway. Thankfully, Scream is here to cover the doors, falling away from this one, but actually this is smart because, again, nothing actually comes out in terms of pressure there from E-Frag. RpK finding a kill here, Bubble with the trade, but SmithZz moving in there to get more coverage onto this one, and now shox being placed into a pressure situation. Sees these two players pushing in from Cat, struggling to pick up the damage, but then corrects it. Now having to go for the reload there, it's SmithZz, just in the nick of time, comes back into cover to his teammate, and then Existence along with Scream come back in there, kind of covering Cat there for the final push out from E-Frag, and they are going to be able to finish off the round for themselves. So E-Frag are going to have to go for their light round here, of course. Nothing really being invested upon them. As Titan, this time a lot more mobile in these rounds on the CT side. A lot more confident in it too. NKL not going to have the best start, but as we can see, pushing again, this is not the smart decision from shox. RpK realizes his mistakes as he moves in, but is not going to correct it anyway. 2 for 1 to start it off here on this round as E-Frag find those 2 kills, getting long control, and a bit of a jerk rotation coming out now from Titan too, putting a lot of pressure back over onto this, but not necessarily accounting for the fact that spyleadeR's already worked his way through T-spawn and is heading inside of the B tunnels right now. SmithZz getting aggressive again, and that's just going to hand over another kill towards Viktor at this point. He'll find this one over onto SmithZz, and now it's a 2 versus 4. You're still looking at 2 players with very weak pistol buys, but the 2 that have upgraded now, if they run into them first, that's not going to be the best situation. And now that bomb moving its way through T-spawn, it's going to go into the B site where currently spyleadeR has it for free, and Existence has no clue that there even could be anything in this site right now, not even paying attention to it. And spyleadeR, you can see he's not peeking out against it, but now sneaking out, looking for those shots, but he's only got a Glock. So it's very hard to find that kill very confidently from that sort of range. He gets the damage in. This at the very least is going to hold Existence back for the time being. And there's still those 2 guns that they've upgraded for themselves here as well. But it looks like, again, Existence going to wrap himself over here towards the window. He now has a little bit of support coming in from Scream too. The Molly's going to be used, but it's in a complete incorrect position here. So that's not really going to do anything at all. Moving in, Existence trying to tap away over at spyleadeR. He's actually the only player with a Glock. So now they just roll in, and there's 2 kills back to back. And Scream finds the second one. Titan, a great job recovering from a bit of a sloppy start to the round. And again, they will be able to, at the very least, come back up here with that 10th point before we see E-Frag getting the real guns into their hands. The problem now, though, is that with a round like that, that is definitely going to impact their economy negatively, as we have to see the rebuys coming out from 3 to 5 of their players. Existence, along with Scream, are going to be the only players looking good, economically speaking, coming up after this round. So, for E-Frag now, they go for the buys. If they can force the victory here on this one, then they can probably immediately put the members of Titan onto an eco, or at the very least a forced buy, with only about 2 or 3 out of 5 of these players having rifles and the other 2 having to go for 5-7 buy-ups. But to start things off, Existence going for the blind spray through the smoke in middle, catching some really good damage on a Dreamer, trying to finish this player off, but only bringing him down to 16 HP for the time being. But it is a full 4-man push coming outside of the mid doors here, and they're just going to roll right into it here. Titan have caught onto this. They've retreated inside of the B site, but there's still only 2 players holding it, and they've got to deal with Bubble coming outside too. One's going to get dropped. Existence actually comes back outside. He's going to pick up 2 kills, looking for the 3rd, but he runs out of ammo. He's going to trade his gun out. spyleadeR finding the trade onto this one. It leaves things even into a 3-on-3, but SmithZz finding the shot through the smoke, takes it down, and now it's just down to Bubble. As shox finding another kill. He's trying to hold it. All 3 pushing back in from CT right now, but he's trying to investigate this a little bit too. He's got to be careful because shox is flanking around right now in the tunnels, and this is going to be so hard for him to hold himself off upon, as Titan are just coming like a storm and turn this one around. And in fact, SmithZz is going to find the final kill, shuts out Bubble, and Titan again pick up the first gun around here, keep their lead strong for the time being, and force another saved round here coming out from E-Frag. Won't be too saved, as we are going to see the Tech 9 armor buy coming into play, a CZ for spyleadeR, but a very quick shutdown from Titan, and very well handled there, of course, after they spot that mid-aggression coming out from E-Frag. So Viktor trying to get aggressive back over here in the lower tunnels. shox, oh, great pop flash coming out there too. That's gonna hurt him pretty badly. As you can see, shox just barely able to escape that situation as he has to move away from this one. Down at 9 HP. He's gonna retreat inside the B site, but keep in mind, again, he's the only player here right now trying to defend this with just that 9 HP. And there's about to be 4 players pushing in onto his ankle, so he's going to need some support, spraying it down, get some really good damage onto the members of E-Frag, but now there's no coverage, and these members of Titan are going to be rolling in blind. They're all spread out. You can see Existence picking up the first kill, looking for a second, getting some good damage. There's Scream with another one, but they are cornered here, so E-Frag slowly finding their way around. There's NKL with 2 shots back-to-back, shutting out both Scream and Existence. RpK has moved his way in. He's trying to sneak. He finds the first kill onto NKL, finding a second one, and the third. Shuts out spyleadeR as well. And there's the retake coming out from RpK. Very close and very dangerous situation for the members of Titan to work against. But thankfully, just the fact that those Tech 9s, or I should say, the fact that E-Frag just have those Tech 9s make that a little bit more palatable for Titan. But Tech 9 still very capable weapons. That could have gone the complete opposite direction if E-Frag were a little bit more ready for that. And now for E-Frag, again, back up to the AKs at the very least this time after going for a quick little save, but now they've allowed Titan to get this double op setup rolling for themselves here too. Both shox and SmithZz are going to be picking those up. One position back over here by the usual card angle on the A site, and SmithZz is a little bit more proactively watching for a mid push. Easily able to force switch things up and watch for the tunnel push too, but it's mid again here coming out from E-Frag, and there's the flick from SmithZz, shuts out one, tossing the molly down. May not have realized that NKL found his way through, but finding a second one there too, looking for the third. He's gonna grab it and almost getting the fourth there, but spyleadeR finally gonna find a trade back over here on his SmithZz. The damage has been done though, and this is left now down to a 3 versus 1. Bubble will be the last one alive, and Existence had already engaged into a duel versus him, so that will be taken down there by Existence. And now Titan, who are seemingly having a little bit of trouble onto their T side, are absolutely running away with this game onto the CT side now that they've had a good setup going up amongst themselves. E-Frag again will force things up here just to try and... Actually, this is an interesting spot to force it up because now they're not necessarily... They actually are on the full losing bonus, apologies. So now the big problem is, again, we haven't really seen them getting a lot of plants, and this is really going to empty out their money to a pretty big degree, and if they don't pick it up here, the buy's going to be even weaker, more than likely, heading into the 23rd round, which might just allow Titan to get up to 15 points, put E-Frag into an almost unwinnable position. So this time, again, it's just Titan ripping apart these players left and right. That good opening peek comes out from shox as he presses towards middle, finds the first kill, and then RpK just getting up into the face of these players, pushing out towards the long doors. You just have 2 left alive now. spyleadeR trying to find his way in. He's gonna get smoked. Not really get smoked off. That was actually a pretty interesting smoke, which I don't think was really meant to smoke him off anyway. SmithZz finding another kill here, back onto the player that was pushing in from CAD, and now again, spyleadeR's already been spotted too by SmithZz. I just don't think he took the shot. And spyleadeR doesn't even know that he's been spotted either, so he's probably thinking he's good to just wall straight in here. But that is not the case. SmithZz going to shut him down. And there we have Titan now up to 14 rounds. Just a few more away from closing out map number 1 after a little bit of a rocky start on the half number 1. But for E-Frag here, again, well, actually, I was a little bit wrong about the way that the buys worked out. They'll actually be a little bit better off this time, at least in terms of the guns they're able to invest. But yeah, utility-wise, they're still very weak, and this has been, again, the same problem for both teams, to be completely honest. Titan was very lax on using their utility to get themselves into sights, and this is part of the reason why they were just shut down so many times by E-Frag. And also, when we take a look at the members of, Titan too, it was pretty much the same exact story for either of these halves. And without it really even being there as an option for E-Frag, I unfortunately don't see any of these takes going so well. The good news is that they start off this round with a kill in their direction due to Titan getting a little bit over-aggressive. So because of this one, there is still a chance now for E-Frag to bounce back. If it is gonna be a chance, of course, it will be a very small one at this point, but it is still possible if Titan continue to play things so aggressively to where they could end up screwing themselves up and losing so many players early on in the round. And even just one player being lost on the CT side can be that detrimental, because now you're leaving a weak spot basically on either angle you go towards. And again, there's going to be RpK moves in, he gets some good intel as to what's happening back over towards long, but it's going to cause actually an incorrect read as to where exactly the play is going to be moving in from. Scream trying to get more mid coverage, but this is not what's needed. They're moving out right now through the tunnels, and nobody on Titan has any idea that this is happening. shox is probably panicking right now, expecting a cat push to come out at any point in time, but they don't see anything in middle. They're now finally realize what exactly is going on, but they've been shut out of that site now, and now they're working on 3 versus 5. They don't really have anything they can do. Here's Bubble trying to line up another kill going over on the SmithZz. Now they're all trapped, trying to keep themselves in this game. shox trying to knock himself out of it, and Scream too picking up a second frag. Unfortunately, despite the fact that they've now evened things out, they've run out of time. They are still going to re-enable the option for them to fall back and save, but in terms of trying to actually win out this round, that's not going to be a possibility. So they'll keep themselves strong, and both of the ops, this is the key thing, both of the ops, assuming we don't see any of these players going down, which there's no reason to believe they would, judging from the current positions, with both of these ops still in play, it's still going to be a very, very confident buy coming out from Titan on the next round. RpK can easily drop here for SmithZz, and the same story for Existence over on the Scream, if he even needs it, and then obviously for shox, he still has his own amount of money, so he's going to be able to rebuy for himself. So we'll see again, no trouble at all with these guys getting the big guns back into their hands. And as for the members of E-Frag over here, they will have to obviously keep themselves strong here too, because now picking up a round, they basically risk the game here is the pretty big component of this one, because a couple players now, assuming they end up dropping this one, they'll still be able to go for their own buys, but a lot more are going to be lower, specifically taking a look at both Dreamer and spyleadeR. If we see Titan just responding right back after this one, they're not really going to have any money for those guys at all on what could be the possibly final round of the map. So shox, or not shox, apologies. It's going to be Existence. Taking some shots from on top of the big B platform there. Trying to see if he can find anybody from E-Frag inside of the tunnels. Let's get about 30 damage on a Dreamer. It's not a bad start for him. Not gonna be waiting for more. As shox is barely missing that shot. Thankfully, Viktor responds with a very good little headshot there to take him down. And SmithZz, too, has something to say back over from Cat. Just a casual little peek. He rolls out, finds a trade to it. He's now going to get pressured, but again, this is the fall away position. He's going to move out from this one. There is going to be long pressure. This is a bit of a dangerous one, and SmithZz, missing that second flick. Not only this, but spyleadeR picking up an additional kill. SmithZz, he's going to get pressured by Bubble from long, so they're closing it in too quickly. Titan are not ready for this one. Scream, too, has to fall away to a safer spot. And this round, for the most part, is already over here. Scream can't really do anything. Existence, too, and completely out of the play right now. He took that shot. Might have been able to find somebody, but not going to be able to connect anything right now. So it's follow-away time, and the members of E-Frag, I think they are aware of it, so they're moving out to hunt already. It's going to be spyleadeR that leads the charge in that regard. A couple more probably going to follow suit in just a second. Now they're going to try and hunt down a couple more of these final kills, but Existence, thankfully, is waiting for them just inside of the B site. And Scream, watching out for that tunnel push. I don't think anybody from E-Frag is going to try to move in against it just as of yet. The big key thing to keep in mind here right now is, again, that money from E-Frag is not necessarily stabilized just as of yet. And they're still going to be 4 rounds away from tying things up, and 6 more from actually winning it. So they need to make sure that, again, if they're going to be winning these rounds, they can keep their money stabilized. Dropping at least one of the ops here and, 3 out of 5 of the players is going to be enough. They should know they're still going to be working against a buy here in this round, so I wouldn't expect anything super crazy out of E-Frag just as of yet. But they should know that they're getting close to this one with the amount of impact that they've had. It's sort of working against their own sins at this point, though, because they did allow Titan to get away with that many rounds for free. There's definitely some mistakes on the side of E-Frag that probably could have been avoided with the way that they were taking some of these takes, not using utility and whatnot for it, and again, taking buys in questionable spots could definitely hurt them. But shox, look at the damage he's done now, picking up the first kill, getting the intel, lining up a second one, moving out, and there's going to be 2 more for shox. He's up to 3 already. NKL did find 1, and Bubble trying to turn this around. He's the only player moving in from the tunnels, but he's surrounded, only has his big box to support him, and they're slowly wrapping him. There we go, Existence lining up the headshot there, and Titan get right back into it now. They're up to match point. And again, their economy's been reestablished, and as for E-Frag, they'll go for the buy here. It'll be very, very weak on both NKL and spyleadeR. The others should be okay, but this is still not going to be looking very good at all for the T's now, as they've allowed Titan to strike right back, and this was the very unfortunate part here of what E-Frag had sown for themselves. They allowed Titan to get so far ahead. Even just these simple little mistakes are going to cost them so much. And this is just going to hurt them now, as we can see. No utility at all, and if they have had any, they've already used a lot of it. Of NKL, Bubble, spyleadeR's only got a flash to work with. Viktor, along with Dreamer, probably the only 2 players with any significant amount of it, but there's no mollies or anything. Thankfully, SmithZz, way out in the open there. He's going to get dropped into 33 HP. Just barely survives that push, as he now has to fall back away from this one. And they're watching out for any mid-pressure, but E-Frag taking this oh so cautiously right now. Not even going to be trying to get aggressive as of yet, and even NKL watching out for a long doors push because of the fact that Titan had been so aggressive. But I think that they've, to some degree, obviously SmithZz proving to be a little bit of an exception to this, but I think the members of Titan have sort of learned their lesson to what was happening, because they tried to get aggressive in mid too many times, and unfortunately this ends up costing them in a very, very large way, as they lose like 2 to 3 players at the beginning of the round because of that one. So I don't think We'll be seeing them try anything super aggressive again. In fact, all 5 players now working their way inside the tunnels. The smoke comes in. This will prompt the push, though, so that pressure is going to move in, and the rotations are so far away. This has to all come from existence. Lining up the first one, trying to get a second, missing it, but using this box for coverage, and Bubble getting the response to it. Takes down existence even before he peeks. They spawned enough time for Scream to get here, though, so he's going to drop the bomb carrier, trying to relocate for that window position. But again, he's the only player here to support this right now. The rest of Titan are still rotating in, so we can't see Scream push in as of yet. Now Bubble's already in his post plant. He's picking up that first kill there, shutting out shox. Not necessarily counting on RpK to come back in, so he's going to find the trade to that one, shutting down Bubble. RpK lining up another one on the NKL, and then there's going to be SmithZz shutting out Dreamers to the members of Titan. They've done it. They're going to close out map number 1 here in a very, very tough retake situation. And now they're going to end map number 1, 16-10 in their favor, and they will bring themselves up to 1-0 in this set. Map number 2 on Cash, guys, is coming up in just a few moments, so stick around for more of the StarLadder Star Series.